Hello, sweetie, and welcome back to, well, not back to, it is Thomas Was Alone. This is the first time I'm playing this, that's for sure. Just ignore that it says resume, or resume. Assume it says resume. Yeah, I've done this already. I recorded 6 episodes, every level, the DLC, and when I went to go and edit it, none of the actual gameplay footage had sound. So, that was quite annoying, because it's heavily based around the narration for you to understand the story, although it is on screen, written, and the soundtrack is really kind of good and atmospheric, so for a lot of it, I don't say a lot, and honestly, it would have made for a terrible series of videos. You have also told me not to bother, and just finish this off after the one I've already done. However, I will say this to you, that no, because there's only like 9 episodes left, and I can do that. When I recorded this before, this took up 6. I've played it again. I played it before, so it shouldn't take as long. If I'm not incompetent like I was before, it needed heavy editing as well, because I was dreadful. But it's also not a long game, so, and I love it, so I don't mind playing it again. The program was a failure. People forget this. It was a massive flop. The coders started adding name strings to the AIs as a joke. Thomas wasn't special, it was just an AI. Something.
Thomas was alone. Wow. A weird first thought to have.
So, it is just doing the left and right, but you can jump. So, you are this little rectangle, and you just move about. The black spaces are the solid walls and floors and ceilings, and the little arrow above it indicates which one you are, because more will appear later. And you've got to go from one end of the level to the other and put yourself in this empty box. Completes, moves on to the next bit of the level. Very simple. I actually think your kids would enjoy this, to be fair. It's such a lovely game. I think the soundtrack, the narration, the characterization, it's done by a guy called Mike Bithell, who has done some other games, none of which I played on here, but he's very good at what he does, truth be told, and yeah, genuinely I think this is a masterpiece of gaming. I love it.
Thomas decided to start listing his observations for posterity. 1. The whole alone thing. 2. Portals. They led somewhere. He'd yet to work out where. 3. Falling. Thomas was absolutely fantastic at falling. He was almost as good at falling as he was at observing.
So I'm going to pause and let him narrate as things go on. Yeah, the narrator is Danny Wallace, who was... I did look him up, and he's like a presenter, radio presenter, occasional TV presenter, and was briefly in an episode of the IT Crowd. But yeah, I love the light thing, little shadows. I'm easily amused.
Okay, interesting. Thomas couldn't fall past this block. Think, damn it, think. What if there was some kind of inverted fall? Some way to... what's the word? Jump. It worked! Thomas had solved the great inverted fall mystery.
Why I picked this game is I went back through my list before I did God of War, so a while back. I created a list of 4 games I wanted to play. This is the 3rd from that list. God of War was 1, Little Nightmares was another, and there is another one which I'm still not sure is that appropriate, especially I wanted to do something different after the shooty shooty bang bang that was Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, but something a bit more slow paced, a bit more narrative focused.
A big jump, but Thomas noted there was no real danger in missing it. The world didn't want him to fail here. It was pushing him, but gently.
Yes. Very meta describing a tutorial.
This all seemed a little dangerous. The world was not to be trusted. It was unstable, and it seemed to Thomas that it could let him down at any moment. He was starting to suspect it might even be doing so on purpose. Paranoia.
I just try and wait for all the narration to finish. I finish the level.
Thomas wondered whether the portals were actually taking him anywhere. He felt like he was making progress, but there wasn't really any way to know. He seemed to be moving predominantly up and to the right, which might, or might not, be important. It might have been paranoia again, but Thomas could have sworn the world was becoming more complicated. It always seemed to be one step ahead of his skills. It had been designed just for him. He wondered why. Was the world testing him? No, too obvious.
I enjoy very much the meta commentary on video games there. Also slightly increasing the difficulty.
Something about the boiling, toxic, glowing water intimidated Thomas. He didn't like it. He certainly didn't want to swim in it.
No, because of
He
this.
made another mental note. 4. Water. Not good. To be avoided.
I mean, it's steamy, so that doesn't help things. Certainly, it looks a bit intimidating. And its steaminess.
The loneliness was getting to Thomas. No amount of observation or obsessive note-taking could combat that. Thomas had a new theory. The world was training him. He could feel himself getting smarter. There was the mental list to consider. Over the minutes and seconds since his spontaneous generation, he'd become a pretty skilled jumper. He was evolving. He just wished he had someone to share it with.
The amount of motion you can get out of giving a shape, a personality is amazing. There you go, that's the first bunch of levels done. On to the second bunch. I submitted hundreds of bug reports. I told that idiot this would happen. Overlapping scripts, more than one AI was bound to spawn into the environment. You can pause it and read it.
Chris took an immediate and deep dislike to the skinny red rectangle. Who the hell did this Thomas think he was?
I did try and do it when I played before, to use the touchpad, but I think it's probably just going to make us feel a bit ill. I was using the L1 and R1, but it was taking me longer as well also, so we'll just have to see how we go.
Chris had been doing fine. He wasn't the highest jumper, but he'd held his own. He'd even been graceful at times. Well, not actually technically graceful, probably the wrong word, but you know, fine. There was that skinny little runt leaping about like he owned the place.
That'll feature a lot, using certain characters to elevate, to help the other, using some characters to help the other characters progress. It is how things are going to be going forward, and I'm going to make it really hard on myself. I'm going to be bad at it.
Okay, this was more like it. A glowy white thing. Only Chris could get to it, which of course made it all the more enticing. What would it do? What new opportunity might this switch open up to him? Great. Another chance for Thomas to jump slightly higher than Chris. How fortunate. Seriously, this made the whole switch pressing thing entirely worthwhile.
Got real jealous.
Was this good? Because on the surface, it did not seem good. Chris was pretty scared. Will Red seemed fine, happy to be on his merry little adventure. Chris couldn't shake the feeling that things had taken a significant turn for the worse since Thomas had joined him. Sure, he'd been able to piggyback his way to ever so slightly higher platforms, but where had that got him? Well, to ever so slightly higher platforms, which was sort of his point.
This one's going to be tricky. I'm probably going to mess this one up a few times. We'll see. Yeah, it would appear so. There she blows.
Chris stared at Thomas with pure hatred. He seemed so very happy at their situation. Friends together, a brave fellowship of quadrilaterals on a quest for greatness. That would be fine.
No.
But it was all the obvious observation that Thomas was doing which grated. Every time they saw something vaguely new, Chris would hear a satisfied little from the vaulting idiot. He hoped the next portal would split them up, if only for a few levels.
One goes under, one goes over. I thought it was going to be something else to it then, but no. See, I've only just played it, but I also cannot remember what I was doing, because I have a terrible memory. That's definitely something that exists and happens. Down we go. There we go. Oh. John, I want to say?
John knew. He knew that this was his chance. A moment to shine. This was game day.
John is a jock.
This would not do. John needed room to show off his exceptional skills. As it was, he was trapped on the wrong side of these little dot things. Where did they come from, anyway?
There we go. Oh, he's gone again. Oh, he's back.
John inhaled the air of the open space, and it smelled of awesome. Time to flex those muscles, to put his training to use, time to show those little dots how it was done. John decided to press the switch to let the little dots catch up with him. John cared for his new allies. You could tell from the sympathetic expression he'd practiced in the mirror all these years.
John sounds like a psychopath. I shall practice my human expressions in the mirror. Oh, I fall down one of the tiniest gaps. So I get for not pausing and just plowing through. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. And that looks suspiciously like a cock and balls. How rude.
John was happy to keep helping. He felt it was important to his image that he was seen to help the little guys.
Oh, that's fiddly. So that across there. There we go. Oh, no, bugger that. There we go.
He didn't mind them so much either.
Yep.
The red one, Thomas, had a charming way of applauding every time John jumped.
Oops, did the wrong one. Come on. Gimme, gimme, gimme. That's it. Right. Whoop. Whoop. Oh, these gaps are really tight.
The angry orange one was less immediately likeable, but his unremitting cynicism and tutting amused John.
Everybody's got something. So, in this one, you see that there's a little, on the right hand side, there's a little sort of moving and flashing square, like expanding. Now, they're little collectibles, and I collected them all in the last playthrough, and I got a load of trophies for it, but that one, the last one didn't pop, but I'm going to go back and try and collect that one there, to see if it will ping. Nope. This may take some time. Do. There we go. I knew one of them hadn't quite registered because that trophy didn't pop before when it should have done. Yay! That's it. That's all the trophies now. Got everything. I got loads of them on the last playthrough, but obviously footage not found. Well, it had no sound, so I deleted it. So there wasn't much point in keeping it.
This was interesting. A floating target. This would require coordination, balance, and timing. John was sure the dots would be lost, but he was happy to guide them to triumph.
Johnny's a very arrogant character, it would seem.
Maybe that's what the dots were for. They were there to extend John's reach, to make his performance even more impressive. John liked the thought. He decided to keep them.
Of course he did. And that one. Who's not? Oh, did I move him slightly? Whoops. My bad. Maybe fat fingers. There we go. I'm just going to pause it there a sec, because that's the end of level 0, level 1. I confused myself last time because I did 2 at a time. I did 2 at a time and I managed to get through. Because there's 9, then there's 2 bonus ones, 10 and 11. So it's 0 to 9, that's 10. 5 episodes of 2 each. Makes sense. And then the 2 in the DLC. Yeah. I think it's an appropriate length. That's where I'm going to leave that. Trying to do the maths in my head then. Shouldn't have been as hard as it was. Clearly I'm out of practice. But anyway, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this. It's not been... It gets harder. It gets much more full of me getting annoyed and sweary at the telly because I'm bad at what I do. I'm bad at video games. So, yeah. I'll see you in the next episode. I love you, and ta-ra.